Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's DJ Ty from AGI Pro DJ. We're here on our after hours early edition. It's 1 p.m. just after 1 on the Pacific Coast. And I'm joined here today by Jay Brannan, courtesy of Pioneer DJ, as well as DJ Kue. And we are going to take a look at Pioneer DJ XDJ-XZ controller. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Excited to be here, Ty.
Thanks, man. Kue, what's going on, man? How are you?
It's hot. So just staying inside, staying cool.
Right on, right on. Same with you, right, Jay?
A little toasty, yeah, like 102 right now, but not bad. It's dry heat. Just remember, dry heat.
Right. So we're going to take a look at the XDJ-XZ. I know this has been out for a while, but finally we've got regular stock on these, which we're super excited to finally have. I use the word finally a lot. But this is, the Pioneer flagship all-in-one unit. There's a lot going on. It's a standalone controller via Record Box. It's got Serato Integration, which they did a pretty decent job on. Jay, do you want to kind of talk about some of the bullet points and walk people through the features and the whys you'd want an XZ, and then we'll talk to Q and get his take on it and how he uses the XZ in his performances and what he likes, and we'll go from there. Take it away, Jay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, as you said, we've had this out for a little bit, the XDJ-XZ. With a controller, when you see XDJ, it means it's a standalone, but it can also run software. This is really our first standalone hybrid controller because, as you said, this not only runs standalone, but it runs Serato and Rekordbox. It's the only controller on the market that will actually run both simultaneously. And if you look up here at this 7-inch touchscreen, you see the two waveforms. They're coming off of channels 3 and channel 4 on this, because I'm running it on USB drive as well as Rekordbox. So I have a USB cable up here, and I'm running Rekordbox as well as a USB simultaneously. You don't have to shut it off. You don't have to put it into MIDI mode. It'll do it on the fly. So I can then also turn around and do the same with running Serato and a USB device at the same time. The other great thing I think is that you can record not only Rekordbox and a USB, but Serato and a USB. So it really opens up a lot for DJs that are in wedding situations with 2 DJs or clubs or whatever is kind of going on at the time, where they might need multiple people, or they just want to be able to integrate software as well as standalone. Let's say it's a smaller gig and they only want to use a USB drive. Starting over here on the left side, some of the features that especially mobile DJs are really enjoying is up here at the top. I have 2 independent microphones with 3-band EQ on each one. I know with mobiles, myself included, doing weddings, it's really important that we end up having that third EQ with the mids, because a lot of the vocals that we run into, and if it's a vocal issue with feedback, we have this button right here that when pressed gives you 2 modes of feedback elimination. And what that means is it takes the frequencies they're starting to feed back and brings them down. So as I drop down below the microphone, you'll notice this looks exactly like a CDJ-2000-XS2 because that is what it's based on. We have the same platter from the CDJ-2000-XS2. We have all of the buttons and functions in the same spot, but we've added a couple of key features. The big one being the middle of the platter now has a display on it. Where I find this works amazing is if I'm running Rekordbox or if I'm running Serato, I can then look here without having to look off at the screen. So I'm taking that interaction that I normally have to stop with the audience and go over to the screen of the laptop, and I'm keeping it function and format right on the audience and the dance floor. So that's been a big help. It tells me where I am in the song, if I'm looping, what deck I'm on, the BPM. Gives me all the information I really need without having to look up at the screen. And when you combine it with the 7-inch touchscreen on top for going through and browsing, the laptop really is starting to move away from the controller and give you back that sense of performance. Down here at the bottom, I have 8 RGB buttons. These are coming from our controller series. So you're now getting your hot cues, you're getting your looping, you're getting your roll loop, you're getting beat jump, different functions depending if you're on a USB, Serato, or Rekordbox DJ. So it gives you different options there. Here in the middle, the layout, the function, and pretty much the guts of this section are the DJM 900 Nexus 2 mixer. You not only have the same 6 color effects, the same 14 beat effects, but even the frequency aspects where you can kill off certain frequencies with the effects or use all of the frequencies. 4-channel, again, my mics are independent up here on the top, so I'm not dealing with those down here at all. It's just giving me the straight mixer in the middle. And then the kind of brains of everything is up here on this touchscreen. I keep mentioning our flagship products, the CDJ-2000-XS2 and the DJM 900 Nexus 2, because that's really what we've done. We've kind of put them together as a standalone and hybrid controller to give everyone every option they could possibly want. And as I said, I'm running 2 different decks right now, Decks 3 and I apologize, Decks 2, because I'm running software and a USB drive. You see they're all lit because I'm running onto all 4 channels. If you use the USB drive, it's a 2-channel controller, standalone. So you've got 2 decks, USB, 2 songs, no big deal. If you want to go and open to 4 decks, now you're going to integrate either a USB and software or just software. Big thing over here, a lot of people say, well, I work in a situation where the sound system isn't what I really want it to be. We've looked at that and addressed it with a 3-band EQ on your master output. So you now not only can tweak the EQ on the channel, but you can also do it on the master out. Up here, I have my 2 USB spots. One says play, one says play record. This is where, if you haven't heard me say this before, I think this is where DJs are going to find a new sense of purpose for events, especially weddings, corporate events, because you can record everything coming out of the master to that USB. If you want to record music, you can't then give it away or sell it or anything, but you can listen to your mixes. But the big piece for me at a wedding is I'll use USB 1, I'll do the wedding ceremony, I record the mic, I record all the music. Then USB 2 has a drive, records it. Then when I get to the first dance for the bride and groom, I go to USB 2, I pull it up on another channel, and I play the vows from the bride and groom back to each other during their first dance. Tears start to fall. You've created a memory, you've created a moment. If you're doing a corporate event, let's say AGI Pro hires me and says, hey, come DJ our event, and Ty wants to talk. I can record Ty's speech as a wave, then give it to him at the end if he wants to do a video montage, wants to do a slideshow, something to inspire everyone to work harder. I can give him that. When he needs a DJ next time, that's a memory that I've created. So it's an amazing piece. If you go to the back, which you can't see because it's sitting looking at you, there's actually an Ethernet hub in it. We have put in an Ethernet hub because we've allowed our Pioneer Pro DJ link to be utilized with either XDJ 1000s or CDJ 2000 Nexus 2s. So you can run 4 decks off one USB drive if you have them linked up and have the 4-channel mixer at a cost that's a fraction of buying 4 CDJs and a mixer. So the mobile DJ, the wedding DJ, the small club DJ, I haven't found anyone in the industry that's tried this either at my place or at shows that hasn't walked away thinking that we've taken the best of everything we produce and given it to you in one package. Because it really is just that. It's 2 CDJs and a great mixer, but put together, you've got software, you've got USB, you've got Ethernet link, you've got all the inputs and outputs you could possibly want. This, of course, works as an independent mixer with turntables, with whatever you want to use. So it's really taken everything that we have, looked at the mobile market especially, and knowing how important they are, and said, you deserve the best we have to offer, but we know you probably want it as a controller because you're going to carry it from gig to gig to gig, and that's what we've kind of come up with here for you. So this is the XDJ-XZ, available now at AGI Pro.
That's right. That's right. Thanks, Jay.
Feeling like
that, man.
Presentation a little bit.
Right. You know, everything's a little different now, and we're not going to see each other in January, and so we're going to be doing more events like this, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, I do too. No, this.
Yeah.
Love to see your smiley face once in a while. You know.
Yep, for sure. What fader does it have?
It has the fader out of the 900. It's not the Magvell fader, but it is very smooth. And I'll let Kue, who scratches considerably better than I do, talk about the fader. We talked about it a little bit earlier about the quality of the fader. It may not be the S9 Magvell, but you have a very seamless sliding fader here.
Yeah, I think that's a great seg to take it over to Kue. And Kue, if you want to talk about your personal experience with the XZ, things that you like, I think we should touch on the fader because, like Jay said, it's not an S9 Magvell, and we talked before the show, and you wished it was, but
yeah,
it's not a terrible fader.
No, it's definitely not. And I mean, there's things that, and that's where I'd pose the question, because you can adjust the cut. The cut for the fader is adjustable within the menu, sort of like the new mixer, where personally I'm not sure if it could be addressed like with a firmware update. But aside from that, like, it's basically what you're known to run into a club, which is a 900 Nexus and 2 CDJs. I guess really the biggest selling point for me was how well it integrated with Serato, especially since I hover between both worlds. So for me, since I do house music and then I'll also do open format stuff, for a lot of like my open format stuff, I lean towards Serato, but then again, for a lot of like house dance, I'm rocking with USBs in a club. So this whereas in the past I would have 2 different setups that I would pretty much practice on, because I'm the type of person that I want to have both types of equipment to be familiar with it when I go into a club and not be so thrown off. I was really impressed with the Serato integration, and I mean, everything that I remember doing, or everything that I do on CDJs, translates really well. Translated really well in Serato, from the looping. You know, I hadn't dealt with cue points on the CDJ aside from the A, B, C, and D little banks, but I mean, it feels great. It feels like how it should, which, I mean, the platters are adjustable. That's the other big thing for me that I always much prefer. I remember using the, I think it was like the XDJ-1000s, and those didn't have the adjust.
Right.
And so, yeah, like I preferred the adjusting the feel, just something closer that I would run into like with vinyl. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, like, the audio sounds great. I mean, there's something to say about like the Pioneer effects, which that's one thing that I did miss a lot. It's kind of funny because like I never really dived into the effects outside of the club, because I had CDJ-2000 Nexus 2s for a while. And so now I actually like diving in and playing with the effects, and basically like seeing what you can really do with the mixer is like really cool. But yeah, for me, I thought the price point was like, it's a really good price point to really combine these both worlds. And I know everyone's scenario is going to be different, you know, where maybe you just need something that's controller only. But yeah, the fact that I can use this as a controller, but then it's also self-contained. So if I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to use Rekordbox, not only am I prepping it with the software, but I can also make sure that I familiarize myself with what the environment is, you know, on the CDJs. But then, yeah, the fact that it translates like 1-to-1 with Serato, I think it's great. So that's really the big thing that sold me, was the Serato integration. This is like honestly like the best Serato integration I've seen so far. So,
do you like it better than the 1000 SRT?
Yes, minus the crossfader. I mean, that's right. But aside from that, if
all the other bells and whistles you get are so much more beyond.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And I mean, you know, as a DJ, you have to kind of determine like not only your budget, but it's like what ultimately do you need, you know, where maybe you do want to familiarize yourself with Rekordbox, or have the if you're a mobile DJ and you want the backup, you know, capability of having USB sticks, or, you know, I'll even hook up like a hard drive, it reads it no problem, to have that if your laptop goes down. Just, yeah, I mean, I think it works really well.
Right. Also want to make sure everybody knows that we are going to give away a pair of XDJ-XZs today at the end of the live stream, courtesy of Pioneer DJ. Thank you for that. So make sure you go to agiprodj.com/giveaway.html, and Kevin will pop up the link here in all of our live streams. Make sure you hop on there and enter. We're going to pick the winner right at the end of the set at random. So big thanks to Pioneer for that. You know, Q, I want to go back to the familiarity thing. We haven't had one of these out of the box, honestly, until yesterday, because we've sold every single one we got, because we always had more pre-orders than we had inventory that came in. And I honestly haven't had a CDJ-2000 here for a long time. And just getting on this and playing with that platter is just so, you have that home feeling, right? Like it's just there.
Yeah, especially if you're already looking at this whole ecosystem, right? Price point wise, it's so much more obtainable than getting, you know, the full out 2 CDJs and a mixer. And I mean, it's all there. You know, one of the you know, we talk about a lot of the pros, but I know a lot of the cons that I will typically hear about, like the self-contained units. It's like, oh, well, you know, the screen real estate, and that's kind of like that trade-off. But it's, I mean, for the price point though, it's like, if you took this and then you yourself went to a club and played on a full Pioneer Club setup, it's going to translate well. And to me,
Yep.
like, that's the biggest thing.
Yep, your comfort level is going to be like
Yeah.
95 to 98%. It's not going. You're not going to stand up there in the booth and have a little moment of freak out. So
Yeah.
yeah, and like you said, the effects on the XZ are, you're essentially, you're getting a 900 Nexus 2, and the effects are bananas.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do, and you forget how fun effects are until you get a Pioneer, a Pioneer rig, and then you have the combination of the beat effects and then the EQ effects that are only available on the XZ and the Nexus 2, and then you add in the sound color effects and the fact that you can mix all of these together.
Yep.
It's just fun. I mean, it's
Yeah.
people are like, oh, effects are overused. No, they're not. They're just awesome. And
Yeah.
Pioneer effects sound so damn good.
Yeah,
Right?
and
Like
they really do. They're
Yeah.
basically like what everyone like strives for like the
It's like the
quality
gold
of the
standard,
effects.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Kevin, do we have any questions from anybody while we're letting people enter to win? And we'll can you map it for use with virtual DJ? Jay?
Yes.
Nice. Kevin's smiling, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Kevin's
and
Kevin.
that's the thing. We've really gone, the mobile market is such a huge market. And I define mobile as people doing weddings, school events, small clubs, even big clubs. If they're working around with gear, they're mobile. Once you come off the kind of EDM stage of I show up, the gear's there, I hit play, and then I do my performance, everybody falls into that mobile category really quickly. And we didn't want to look at it and say, who are we, in and out with? That's the beauty of something like a virtual company where they'll come in and take a piece of gear. We were talking about this Pulse, Christian. He and I were talking about an event we did with them years ago with the S1 and their ability to map things out and make things integrate so that now you're offering this piece of equipment to anyone in the marketplace that wants to utilize it.
Right.
And if you're doing the 1 or 2 hour set, you're opening for someone, or you're just doing a local bar and it's like, just play some like background and a little bit of, housey stuff. Just bring a flash drive. Don't even bring the laptop.
Right.
And give yourself kind of the both worlds. I think to what Hugh was saying, the people I've had jump on this that are CDJ only, I've had a couple of bigger name DJs, and they're like, I don't get it. Like, outside of the second screen, what am I missing? I'm like, that's about it.
That's about it. Yeah.
They put in their drive and all their songs come up, their playlists come up, their cue points, their loops, everything's there.
Right.
And, if I could put it in a case and cover and just say, hey, try this. It's a prototype 2 CDJs and a 900, but we wanted to give you a different screen setup. Nobody would really argue with you because you're really getting all those facets.
Right. Q, what do you like to play? Do you like to play on Serato more, or do you like using the thumb drives with the record box integration? What do you have a comfort level or a preference, or does it
for me,
really depend?
I mean, it depends, like where I'm playing. I will say I definitely have more of a comfort level on Serato because I've spent more time in Serato. I mean, even before it went, Serato DJ Pro with Scratch Live.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've been in the Serato ecosystem way longer than Rekordbox. But now it's my whole reasoning. I jumped in on Rekordbox with the Nexus 2s because the Nexus 2s basically did the one thing that I wanted, which was 8 cue points. And for me, I use like a lot of cue points. And so that's where it's like I felt more comfortable, where I feel like I could do the same sort of set on USB drives in Rekordbox prepping as I would in Serato. But yeah, for my live streams and everything, I still lean towards Serato just because I've been in it much longer.
Right on. That's cool. And I know we kind of threw everything over to you, but I want to talk to you a little bit about where you came from, how long you've been in the game. If you're a house DJ or an EDM DJ, you likely have a Q remix in at least one of your crates. So can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what Q's all about, where you can get Q remixes, sign up for the drip?
Yeah. So Been producing for a long time. I'm originally from Texas, moved to the Bay Areas many moons ago. Basically, like the whole Q project. I mean, I've always been a DJ first, so I came up in just during like the whole like hard house, like disco house era. Got into like battling for a little bit, and then I got it. I'd always like dabbled with production, like doing mixtapes and all that, but it wasn't until I started gigging, especially when hip hop was big, and I was doing all these like deep house clubs where I'm like, there's like no dance or house remixes of like a lot of stuff that I could be playing of what's out there, you know, all the radio stuff. And so that's really where that evolution happened, where I just started like doing remixes, and just I haven't stopped since. And yeah, I have a mailing list. You can sign up at djq.net, where usually on my Instagram I'll post snippets of stuff that I'm working on. It's always like spur of the moment. Like when I have ideas, I'll post like if I'm working on something. And you'll always, yeah, as long as you sign up for my mailing list, like I always blast that out eventually. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where I came from. And yeah, I make remixes for myself, but it was one of those things where it's like, I made them out of necessity to play stuff that I really enjoyed. And I ended up finding out that a lot of my friends and fellow DJs like would tell me, oh, this is dope. Like this would be super useful for me. And that's when I just started sending stuff out. I would, especially like back in the day when blogs were a really big thing. I would send stuff to blogs too, and yeah, so that's my evolution and my story in a nutshell. So
cool, man. We really appreciate it. As myself, you know, I've got plenty of your cuts in my my Serato crates, and I love what you do. And like I said, if you're like you said, you made these things out of necessity, right? Because there was obviously a void that needed to be filled.
Yeah.
And for how you wanted to play, but and I think it's pretty safe to say that there's a lot of DJs that are probably rocking those tracks. So Kevin put up links. Make sure you check out djq.net. You can see what he's working on. Follow him on social media. Check out his latest Instagram post, or the next to the last one on that new Miley track, the little masher you just put out. That was pretty dope. So
Yeah, that was cool.
yeah, for sure. Kevin, do we have any other questions or anything? Meanwhile, while you're popping up a question, if you want to win a pair of XDJ-XZ, make sure you sign up at agiprodj.com/giveaway. That's on the little scroller there at the bottom. DJ Avenue, what up, Jay and Q? That's Ramon on our team. Just want to say thank you to Pioneer DJ for listening to DJs and giving us amazing gear like this.
Absolutely.
For real.
He's
for real, right?
He's a great voice in the industry. I know he's a huge Red Sox fan. And the thing about it is we try to make sure that...
Dodgers fan now.
What's that?
He's Dodgers fan now.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Well, you know, he is. That's okay, I guess.
We'll let it ride. We'll let it go.
I got to bust on him a little bit.
A little bit.
No, I mean, this is the beauty of it. And I say this all the time. I genuinely am a full-time mobile wedding DJ, and I swear that's kombucha. It's not beer. And I'm always speaking on what on not behalf of the other DJs, but of the things that I want. And I want to be, you know, I want to give the appearance and the presentation at an event of, wow, that's a lot of gear, or wow, that looks really professional. And it's things like this and the SZ and the DDJ 1000s that have really catapulted, I think, the imagery of the DJ. Because now when they go to a club or a festival and they see a close-up, they go, wow, my DJ uses that same stuff. I remember years ago, my wife going, oh, come here, you got to see this. I'm like, what? And it was somebody on the Grammys, and in the back was a DJ with a laptop. She goes, he's using Serato. I'm like, they showed the screen? She goes, no, he's got the same laptop you have, because you can see the Apple logo. And it kind of spoke to, you know, if we're going to be viewed as that level, we need to kind of up the game a little. And things like this are such a joy to work with. They really are, because they do everything I need. They do everything Q needs. They'll do everything any DJ that walks up to it will need. There's nothing that you're going to say, oh, I wish, or it's missing. You may want more, but it's not missing anything. It's an amazing, amazing piece. And you mentioned earlier, you have them in stock right now, because now I would think would be the time to get them.
Yep.
because I know they've been very, very popular. So
They have. You know, it really is. Go ahead, Q.
Oh no, I was gonna say I always wanted my DJ equipment to do my taxes, but no one's stepping up to the plate for that yet.
This one's close.
Bottle opener on it, cutting for your cans. But you got to draw the line somewhere. Next gen. That'll be Mark II.
Lehman says, I've used this XDJ-XZ this past weekend for a wedding gig. Congrats to you on doing a wedding. I have to say, it's just like using an Nexus 2 setup. It is. It's so close.
Yeah, it's an amazing piece. And multi-ops that, might be doing a club where you're switching people out. And again, you run into that, well, what can I buy because my guys use this, and this. I mean, this is the Swiss Army. USB, virtual, Serato, record box. The other thing I wanted to mention to Q was this is an unlocked product, meaning that if you download Rekordbox 6 with all the new features, this unlocks it. And you can get right up. You should at least check if there's a couple of things in there that I'm finding a lot of DJs really like as far as feature set. Because I'm like you. I'm old school Serato.
Yeah.
The times that I mess around and start doing smaller gigs and even bigger gigs with Rekordbox, it really does a lot of amazing things. So just so users know, if they buy this, it unlocks Serato 6.
Oh yeah, no, I will. It was Warren who at Direct Music, who's a huge Rekordbox user.
Yes.
Who told me about the I think it's like the related tracks or something like that, and now that blew my mind. I was like, whoa, now that is cool. Because the that moment where you get stuck and it's like, oh wait, what did I play last with this track, and it actually will show you, like that's neat. So
yeah. Actually, just real quick, in Rekordbox, the related track function allows you to set a parameter, whether it's BPM, genre, keys, so that when you're searching through a playlist or the collection, on the right side, it'll start listing tracks that fit that criteria. So if you're looking at 115, P of A, dance, everything that matches like 113 to 115 or 114 to 116 or whatever you want will come up on the right. So it makes it really interesting to go, oh, I forgot about that track. Because, you've got so many songs and you get in a habit.
Yeah, exactly.
So I play this out of Billie Jean or I play this out of that. And when it gives you those new ideas, it's a big deal. And shout out to Warren. He's been a great supporter and super nice guy.
Yep,
super nice guy.
For sure. See here, Colin says, time to get the laptop out of the DJ booth. Oh, the time's been a long time ago. But as Jay, you mentioned in your overview, this brings you closer back to your performance, right? Like really everything's nice and close, and it's a quick glance down. You don't have to have that Serato stare where you're just, over on the laptop for 10 minutes straight.
I don't know how well you can see that, but this waveform on deck 3 and the corresponding information in the middle there, that's coming from Rekordbox. I have a laptop behind this. So, if I want to go in and browse through, find tags, find out what I've done, that's all available to me to search for. And it makes it really easy. And it moves the laptop out of view. So you're not stuck with I've got to stare at this. And you're constantly reminded of where you are on the track. You're reminded of, where mix points are visually without having to stare at the laptop. So I think it speaks to Colin and what his point is. And that's sort of what we're doing. We're giving you that availability, but we're not taking away from your performance as a DJ. I don't care if it's 3 people or 3 million. Your performance is your performance. And locking in with the crowd, it's hard to do that through the screen of a laptop.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, like on the opposite end is actually getting used to not looking at the laptop because you're so used to searching like on the laptop. Where it's like, oh yeah, I forget. I can actually do everything like on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really tough habit to break. Like a really tough habit.
I remember
because you go for the QWERTY keyboard like instantly. You want to start searching for stuff. So.
Yeah.
Well, remember when we all had them right in front of us, and then they slowly migrated to the left or right. And I remember going to expos where Scribble would have it here, and then all of a sudden the next year it was way over here, and I'm like, wow, what a difference that makes, just moving it a few feet. So now you're putting it down and a little bit lower. This has 2 USBs. Yep. Oh, I see what he's saying, 2 USBs. DDJ-1000 SRT if he wants to use Serato.
Yep. So you've got Rekordbox running on yours, Jay. Is that right?
Yeah.
So mine's hooked up to Serato right now. So
Yeah, same.
and you can see the center jog is a little less detail than Rekordbox has, but
So mine actually, I have it set. Give me a quick second. Yeah, you can. So I have the waveform, BPM, and then I can see my cue points and then the time down here.
is that Serato Q?
That's Serato. So that was actually a setting I had to go and change within the utility. Because at first I
controller?
thought, yeah, on the controller, and so I initially thought that
time for a quick
I thought it was
class
separate.
walkthrough.
Yeah, Q. I need to be enlightened because I want that on mine. Show me.
Do it right now in real time.
Let's see if I can remember. So I feel like it was. Hold on, I'm looking.
Are you switching the displays on the decks?
Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
the on-air display? No. That's not.
Yes, I think it's no.
No.
Info, artist.
Did you find it? The jog display mode info. That's what you want.
Yep.
Yes.
Woohoo!
There you go.
Yeah, you have the menu on this is amazing. Like amazing.
I'm happy. That's exciting.
Yeah, that was like that was the only thing that confused me at first. I'm like, wait, but all the pictures show the info. And
Right.
then when I went in the menu and I saw, oh, okay, you just need to change it. Boom, it was there. So
Like I said, we've had this out of the box less than 24 hours. So
Well, and if you have
Yeah.
artwork attached to the song,
right.
and you select artwork, it'll show the artwork in the display behind it.
yeah.
That's cool.
So if you're used to looking down at, some people put one picture for everything under a certain artist, you'll at least
Sure.
know deck to deck where you are in it.
Right on. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing piece of gear. And as much as I looked at it in the beginning saying, oh, I'm doing weddings, this is overkill. No, it's
not at all.
the opposite. It's perfect for weddings because so much is going on at a wedding. Just something as simple as 2 independent microphones, especially with the feedback eliminator and even just the mid EQ. Somebody wants to sing, I've got a lot more control with 3-band EQ than 2.
Agreed. Kevin's pushing the giveaway. AGIProDJ.com/giveaway.html. We will be picking a winner at random. 18 years of age or older that lives in the United States to get a free pair of XDJ-XZ-S, courtesy of Pioneer DJ. Thank you for that. Make sure you enter to win. We'll be picking a winner at the end of the stream. Colin says, I still remember how the R1 blew my mind when I discovered it. Right? We were just talking about that earlier.
The R1 has a great mic. It has a lot of ability. That whole period with the R1 and even the Aero, and you got remote box. And now you can take an iPad or a phone and change the volume of your mic, your master output, and you can mix songs in. I think it was pretty far ahead of itself.
Agreed.
Do you remember the DMP 555?
I was just you stole my show, man.
Sorry,
I was just going to talk about that. Yeah.
Won't be invited back.
Yeah, you're done. You're fired.
Yeah.
Pioneer's ahead of its time, man. They have done some stuff that have been way, way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Fox says, how heavy is it? I can tell you exactly how heavy.
Earlier,
just over 20 pounds.
Yeah. It's not too bad. It really isn't.
Let me see here. See.
Black shirt gang, that's right.
Seriously.
That's right. Unit weight is 28.7 pounds, found in the specification tabs on AGIProDJ.com. Like that.
Nice.
Cool. Let me see. Oh, Jay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
XP2, can you use an XP2 with this?
Yes, because you'd use it into the software as far as MIDI mapping it goes.
Into Rekordbox?
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Well, probably Serato as well.
Yeah, it would be a lot. But you're doing that kind of Buck Rogers,
Well, I go back to Warren, right? Like, if anybody's seen Warren play, the guy's a G with that XP2.
Yeah, he sold me on that too. I haven't jumped on that too, but like for me, I would definitely because like for my live stream, I trigger drops, and so I would definitely use that to add even more drops for like the XP2.
XP2 would be
Just
perfect for that.
the fact that you can set it to do so many different functions.
Yeah.
And they're all color coded, right? So you're not going to lose track of stuff. So
Right. So as you go to categories, and it'll change up.
yeah, for sure.
And,
For sure.
another. It's funny to see where we were and where we are today. And somebody else mentioned that, or even about the R1. I think it was Colin. You know, it used to just be a couple of CDs, and what's the problem? Oh, it's the RCA cable. Oh, okay. You know, it was the simple fix and the simple gear, and how far it's advanced. I mean, everything's a laptop. Everything is this kind of immense control surface where we're so much better as a DJ for it. We really are. We were limited by the limitations of the gear back in the day.
Yep.
I think my first player didn't even have looping.
No. Well, you know, and that Kevin made me drag all of our vinyl out, right? My vinyl. And he's been pushing me to play an all vinyl set, and it sucks. It's not fun, right? Like this thing just spoils everything rotten. But it makes you, I think it makes you better, honestly. I mean, the technology doesn't limit you. It doesn't help you cheat. It makes you better, hands down. So
I look at doing a wedding or an event with CDs, and I would always have 3 CDJs, 2 CDJ 1000 Mark IIs, and then a 200 or a 400. And my logic was, the next song mixes on deck 2, but wait a second, let me try this song. But it was all that searching. Now, you know, you can suddenly find something or go down a different rabbit hole, and your performance is so enhanced. I'll give away one of my big ones that I came up with about a year ago. Little John, Turned Down for What? Drop a loop on the section that starts to kind of like stutter. Start to cut the loop, and as you're doing that, you're pitched up to like 105, 106. Bring in Luke Bryan, Country Girl, Shake That For Me, with a loop in the beginning, so you get that dun 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 now, and you're hearing this da 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 da. Hit the filter on Little John, hit play on Luke Bryan, and they go right into country. And you get a crowd that likes country, they lose their minds.
right now, Kevin's taking like notes. He's writing it all down.
I couldn't have done that 5-10 years ago, because I wouldn't have thought about those 2 tracks. But now I'm seeing a screen with BPMs and going, wait a second, they like country, Luke Bryan is this. It's like when Happy by Pharrell came out, it was that it's 80, but it's 160. Well, so is Hey Ya. Well, so is Taylor Swift Shake It Off. I know, I'll mix those 3 together. And all of a sudden people are like, wow, that's great. How'd you do that? In our head, it's just 380 BPM songs. But in the audience's head, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're being a DJ. You're not just sitting, playing, getting out your phone, and So I think this really enhances the experience that even the end user has, as much as it does for the audience who sees you perform.
Right. Ramon says, I used to laugh at controllers, but he's so wrong. I know. I love him.
I'm 100%
and
with him.
And no disrespect to guys that play vinyl, right? Like, we have turntables here. I've got phase. I've got real vinyl behind me. I've used Serato with vinyl. And you can DJ on anything, right? That's kind of the glory of growing up through all this technology, is that I can still grab a pair of turntables and a mixer and throw it down, and I can play real vinyl. I can play on phase, which is great. I can play on CDJs. I can play on a controller. There's so many different ways to perform now. And it's basically there's an option for everybody and for everybody's comfort level and performance level. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it brings out more of that nostalgia. When you see, who was it? Richard Vision and Bad Boy Bill did a vinyl tour like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
Just vinyl. And I think you appreciate it more because you understand they're not utilizing the technology of the day. It's hitting the ditch with a shovel versus getting, some piece of equipment. You end up with the end result the same way, but one of them took a lot more effort. And I think when you craft something like that from an artistic standpoint, it really shows how deep this goes when it comes to being a DJ.
Well, I think it's cool too because they also integrate like the new school and the old school. So it's like, I remember seeing them on the Behind the Decks tour, and it's like they weren't just using vinyl, but they had like some CDJs too. So it's like they were, even though the focus was like on vinyl, it's like at the same time they went through that era, right? They went through that whole transition of like, we used to, carry crates of records playing in clubs, transition to CDJs and CDJs, and then giving a good example of like how like all these like all this whole world can like exist together. And you can still rock a killer set. And so like you have that nostalgia of like playing vinyl. But then I remember like when I was playing vinyl and I got like my first CDJ, and it's like, oh, awesome. I can actually like mix my own stuff now, like that I'm making on my computer and like Sony Acid Pro. Like this is great. So yeah.
I'll ask both of you guys after I share my opinion of this jog wheel, because there's people that we've had guys that'll message us and they'll complain about the CDJ jog wheel, that they like the other control. This thing is the coolest damn jog wheel on anything.
Yeah.
And until you play on it and actually touch it and mix with it, the way it feels like vinyl, but then you have the ability to do these minor adjustments, and you can get so precision and so exact with the CDJ jog wheel. There's nothing like it, in my opinion. It's just, there's nothing like it. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think?
With the SC2, and it was, here's the same size, but it's a little different.
Right.
And we wanted that to be a little bit more, the heritage of the SX, growing it into the SZ. When we came out with the 1000, we had a very similar platter as far as feel and touch. I think we've done even a better job with bringing the, a true CDJ-2000 Nexus 2 platter. And, if you want to adjust it, there's a feel adjust right there.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was always like the biggest thing that I always wrestled with when I went on like the earlier controllers, was getting used to like the capacitive platters versus like beforehand. It's like I remember using CDJs and physically like pushing down on the platter, and then the biggest thing for me was also like tension control, because then I could dial in the jog to what I'm going to what I have set like with like using turntables. So it's at least as close as I possibly can get it without it being a spinning platter, and using a controller. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Jay, do you know the answer to this question? Lehman asks, will Pioneer DJ release a firmware that enables 4 decks with record box export mode?
I don't know. I don't want to say it's coming or give them a date, because I can't answer that with a time frame.
That's roadmap stuff. So
yeah.
Fox asked, how does the platter size feel? Same size platter.
Same
as
size,
CDJ.
CDJ. Yeah.
Same platter. Yep.
Yeah. It's really, I'm not a big scratch guy, but I use it in CDJ mode all the time just to lock tracks up, because I can use the top of the platter. So you can adjust on the side, but in CDJ mode, you can also adjust this track speed to that track, and it works really, really well. So it's a great tool to have on board.
Yeah. It should be noted also that's the exact same jog wheel that's on the DDJ-1000 record box and the DDJ-1000 SRT. So, and then CDJ-2000 Nexus 2s, XDJ-1000. As Q mentioned, that it's got some of the jog tension adjustments. You can set up that almost infinite backspin, which if you know the way that feels, you can adjust your performance and have that all set up exactly the way you want it, where it's comfortable. So. Kevin says we have a winner for the giveaway.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. It's about time. It's 48 minutes. Kevin, are you going to chime in and announce the winner? I don't see you. You got to switch views.
Yeah, okay.
There he is.
I'll bring up this screen. Yes, we have a winner. Winner from a YouTube viewer, Delby's Marquez. I've got your email address, so we will get you send you an email, and you'll get us an address, and we will get some headphones shipped out. I'm not sure if they're shipping from our warehouse or they're going to ship from Pioneer, but the good folks over at Pioneer made that available to us, so we're going to take care of you with that.
Awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations on that. And see here, gonna miss seeing Jay in the Pioneer booth. Yeah, I am too. DJ 3PM.
Yeah, this has been a tough year. It's the first expo I've missed in 16 years. It'll be the first NAMM in 18 years. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, we're doing this online. We're doing our best to give that experience. But, I mean, you haven't lived till you've been at the Irish pub at 5 a.m. in Atlantic City, or walking into the Hyatt at NAMM at like 3:30 in the morning.
And there's still a band playing.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and I'll just clue everybody in just a little bit, you know, some secret sauce that, you know, Ramon and I and Kevin are all working on doing a lot more live streaming and a lot more YouTube product videos in lieu of there being NAMM. So we're reaching out to all of our manufacturers, and we're asking them for, you know, for product presenters like Jay to come in and help us out with these live streams. We're asking for, you know, advanced production units to have overview videos in the can and live on YouTube on launch day. So people that are used to the content that AGI Pro DJ creates every year at NAMM, hopefully we'll be able to offer very similar content, you know, maybe from now until January. I suspect manufacturers aren't going to hold everything back, right? There's no reason to anymore.
I think we're in that weird time.
Release the hounds.
You know? Yeah. So keep paying attention to AGI Pro and Pioneer DJ USA on Facebook and Instagram, and our main site and our forums, and we'll make announcements the second we have information for them.
Cool. Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys joining us. Jay, thank you so much. Thanks to Pioneer for supplying Jay for our live stream today. Q, thanks for joining us. Make sure you stick around on Twitch, because Q is going to rock. What are you going to play for, about half an hour, Q?
Yeah, half an hour.
And if you're not watching on Twitch, please jump over to twitch.tv/AGI Pro DJ. Give us a follow and catch Q doing some choice select Q edits.
I think I'm going to throw out some subs today on Twitch also, Kevin.
Awesome.
So
if
I'll
you're watching,
we'll throw out 3 or 4 subs on Twitch today as live stream prizes, and you can get our emote pack, and you can watch Q rock a set and see what he's all about, and see what the XDJ is all about in the in a club house EDM environment. Looking forward to it, man. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Periscope, hop over to twitch.tv/AGI Pro DJ. Follow us there. And Q, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man, let's do it. Jay, thanks, man.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.